All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. DELO here. I am here with a special guest, Mr. Matt Plapp. How are you today, Matt?
Living the dream, brother. Living the dream.
Let everybody know, what state are you in? Where are you residing in your office over there?
Yep.
That really cool office.
We're in northern Kentucky, just by the Cincinnati airport. So everybody that flies into Cincinnati thinks they're in Cincinnati, Ohio. They're actually in northern Kentucky, about 5 miles that way.
Nice, nice. And you, as of recent, have just acquired a couple of vehicles. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have.
All right, that's awesome. Matt is doing a food tour, so to see him in his office is actually kind of special because he's usually out and about. And I'll have him share his media links because he's got a lot of great interviews and a lot of great stuff going on. Now, the reason why I'm interviewing Matt today is because he is an asset for what I feel in the hospitality market, and he's helped a lot of people nationwide make money based on the advertising that they're doing and be able to track it. So, it's a really cool program that I've, witnessed over the last year. And there's a couple clients even in Arizona that have signed up. And so to, market a little bit more, we're going to talk about Matt's third book that he's written. And I have a copy of it right here. Yep, there we go. Duplicate copies. Before we get into the third book and really what the antithesis of that, which is called Restaurant Marketing That Works, because we all know that not all marketing does work. Sometimes we spend a lot of money, including myself, on stuff that we just kind of spend money on. We don't have any trackable, way of looking at how that money was spent. But before we get into that, Matt, give us my audience a little bit of a background on your sales. I know you started in radio ad sales in
Yep.
Cincinnati. I think that was your first gig, and then was it just kind of all over from there?
No, it's been pretty focused. I started in TV and radio back in 1999. 98, I started in TV right out of college. Quickly went from the production side because I realized that the long path it was going to take to get to TV for a guy in TV, just because there were so many white guys on TV is what it is. And I also saw that I was more of a sales guy. I was more of an idea person versus standing in front of a camera. So I went into radio advertising sales. Also that same year, 99, myself and my dad and brother got together and had an idea to start up a boat and RV dealership, a consignment dealership, but online. And what's funny is none of us had a clue how to do anything online. It was just going to be like a boat and RV trader, but locally. And so I bought a book called Adobe Page Mill, bought the software. One of my radio clients told me enough to be dangerous. And within a month, I had built the website and we had a company. And so I had my radio career for 4 years. I also doubled and did 4 years at the boat and RV dealership. And in 2003, came to a conclusion that I had to go leave and run the dealership. It had grown from literally online to a lot with a shed and 5 boats and campers to a 7-acre, 3-location company with 15 million in sales. And
wow,
that's where I cut my teeth in digital marketing. That's a whole nother story. There's a cool story how that happened, but it's a pretty cool one. Long story short, after that, by 2008, I hated the boat and RV dealership. My dad hated it. We had 40-something employees. Neither one of us me and my dad weren't good bosses. The economy crashed in 08. I had actually went back, thank goodness, to consulting. A lot of my radio clients from the prior days, because I had a lot of good relationships, because I wasn't really a salesperson. I was more, my dad says, consultative seller, that when to say, hey, you don't need me, or hey, you do.
Right.
And you know how to suggest and refer people that do kind of what you do, but that you can't help with. Like I remember one time referring a client of mine, not to buy radio, to buy cable from this person. And my boss is like, what are you doing? I'm like, they get a better value there with where they're at. So I had those relationships, and flash forward to 2008, I had been published in a lot of magazines and newspapers and business couriers about what we were doing in the boat business and digital marketing. And so I started consulting restaurants and small businesses on how to use this thing called the internet for their business back in 08. And here we are, 2021. I had to look at the year on my computer, 2021. And we exclusively now work with restaurants, a team back to the 40 number. I swore I was going to get no employees when I went to consulting, but now I'm at a different level in my life. I understand teamwork and employees, and we've got 40 plus. This is our common space of our office, and we have a 9,000 square foot headquarters here with a podcast and video studio, a learning center downstairs for 50 people. And
what's the name of your company so people know?
So America's Best Restaurants is our overall name. There's 2 divisions. There's America's Best Restaurants, which is a consumer-facing media company we've launched the past couple of years. That's what the 2 vehicles are you're talking about. We have Mercedes Sprinter vans that are wrapped in beautiful bright and orange and blue. and they travel the country. The one is in, just got done filming yesterday in Cary, North Carolina, and I'm with it next week in Chapel Hill and Greensboro. So we film 10 TV episodes a week per van. The vision is in 5 years, we'll have 50 vans on the road, filming 50 one-off, locally owner-operated restaurant interviews about their food, their atmosphere, their culture, and why people need to eat there every week. The other side of the company is the name of the book. Our other side of the company is called Restaurant Marketing That Works. It's our division that works with hundreds of restaurants nationwide on how to attract, build, and retain. How do you attract attention of your customers? How do you build a database? And how do you retain those relationships so they keep coming back to eat food?
Yeah, that's great. So that's a little bit of background on you and what you're doing, and you know, you have a very viable company. Obviously, you're growing by leaps and bounds, and if you didn't know what you were doing, you wouldn't be growing. So that's great. And what do you think gives you the right to write a book? You know, especially a third book, huh? So
the thing that I hate the most, and what drove this, what drove the first book, the second, and the third. I go to a lot of trade shows. I go to a lot of restaurant shows like you've been to, the different association shows, the pizza shows, and I watch the same washed up people on stage. Yeah. Number one, 90% of their presentation is a sales pitch. Number two, they're talking about something that worked 5 to 10 years ago, and they're not giving tangible proof.
Right.
And so what I like to do is not sell and is a 100% show. I did an interview yesterday on a podcast for the book, and the guy said, Matt, I read the book, and you gave away a lot of information. Why are you giving away that much information? I'm like, because you know what? The most popular video online that gets people to get the oil changed at a car dealership is a video of how to change your oil, because there's people that will change it. There's people like me that ain't touching it, because I'd end up with a car on top of my head and oil all over the place and my wife yelling at me and probably dead. It's the same thing in this. There's a lot of operators that, yeah, they'll read this book and there's unbelievable tangible information. There's case studies. There's QR codes that go to, actual results, and you can say, this is how we did it. So to me, I've worked on tens of thousands of campaigns for restaurants, whether it's Facebook, whether it's radio ads, TV, billboards, sports sponsorships, email, text. I've seen what works. I've done enough of the wrong stuff to know not to touch and burn my hand again. But the fact that we have so much data, I think it's worth telling, because I can't tell you how many times I've sat in a crowd and I've heard somebody spew something on stage at a food show about how they help restaurants with XYZ, not necessarily marketing. I'm like, are you still in the business? Like you?
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, so let's talk about. I want to get into the main gravy of the book. Yep. We obviously want to keep this, short, concise, give people an intro to you and kind of what it's about. But you talk about the 5 steps in the book, and if you can just kind of give an analysis. Let's start with awareness. What do you mean by awareness when you're talking about, the 5 steps?
Well, there's this device that we all have, and it's easier than ever to get awareness on that device, whether it's a text message, an email, a YouTube video, a Facebook post, LinkedIn, or Instagram. So our goal is the 5 steps. The first one's awareness. That if, let's take, for example, our friend Dan out there in Arizona, who's got BKDs. Right. If DELO sees BKDs 20 times in the next 12 months, those 20 times you see the brand are going to encourage a few visits. It's going to be like, oh, sounds good tonight. If that 20 is 100, it's going to encourage 5 times more visits. If that 100 is 2,000, you're going there more often, especially if they know, like, and trust the brand. So my goal with restaurants is to teach them in this book the places you can get awareness. Did you know that 85% of people that walk into a restaurant are not in a database that restaurant has at their fingertips?
And that's your next step is basically the database building. So that's an incredible stat. And most people, they don't own anything at the end of the day. It's like these things fly in and fly out, and all these people and all their data, and it's never being collected the right way.
I use the equation of, I've been, as of this past Saturday, married 22 years to my wife, 26 years total dating and marriage, 2 beautiful kids, unbelievable mom and wife. It started with me asking for her phone number in college. Maybe I don't ask for her phone number. Maybe I'm too busy to ask for her phone number, like a lot of cashiers are at restaurants of their customers. That's how you start the dating process. Yeah. And so if I'm a restaurant and we're actually in the process, our plan is in 2 years, we're going to open a restaurant up the street at a restaurant location I like called Starters.
Oh, really?
Just start appetizers, all it's going to be, because I want to practice what we preach and what we teach in the lower level of America's Best Restaurants University, our learning center. But if I had a restaurant, and when I do, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure everybody that walks in that door is given a very, very enticing offer to give me their name, phone number, and information, because I've got the awareness enough to get them to walk in my restaurant.
Yeah.
Hope and pray is the biggest marketing tactic of restaurants. I hope Matt enjoyed his meal. I pray he comes back. I like to say aim and expect. I aim at Matt Plapp because he's in my database. He comes every third week. I'm going to put a marketing campaign that I can expect a result to getting back more often. So the awareness has to lead to an opportunity. It's even easier now. QR codes 2 years ago, 3 years ago, people didn't know what they were as much. Now everybody knows what they are. And so everybody that walks in your restaurant, really simple. DELO, you love our Brussels sprouts. Do you want a free order your next visit? Yeah. Great. Scan this code, answer 5 simple questions. Your next order is on us. We appreciate your loyalty.
Yeah. No, that's great. And half the time people are on their phone when they go out to eat anyway. So give them something to do.
Yep.
What's show me the money? Show me what's that mean?
So you're in the insurance business.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a house. You've got a house. I use this example all the time. You buy a house, you got a realtor, you have a mortgage company, you have an insurance agent, you have a title agent. Imagine if you never got to see the house, but DELO said, Matt, it's insured, you're good to go in case anything happens. Like, where's it at? Well, it's on this street over there, but you can't really get to it. Eventually you'll see it. That is marketing to restaurateurs. They have spent money. I understand it. They've spent money. They've boosted Facebook posts. They've spent money on direct mail, on radio stations, on billboards, on sponsorships, on charitable stuff. And they don't tangibly know that it worked. Yeah. If you don't tangibly know that something works, you quit doing it. If you were to get out there and like my first year of doing CrossFit 10 years ago, I would show up at the gym with a Coke and a taffy, and the trainer, no lie, the trainer didn't say anything. I did CrossFit about 2-3 months, and he said, he's like, you ready to see the next level? I go, what is it? He goes, it's nutrition. He's like, quit walking in the gym with a taffy and a Coke. And sure enough, guess what? When I quit walking in the gym, which was ironic, a taffy and a Coke, and I worked out, in a year I saw results. Yeah. Well, it's the same with your marketing. You got to see results. And so when I say show me the money in there, it's the fact that we marketed people from in-store. We did a Facebook advertising campaign. We got them to go to a central place and give us their name, visit frequency, phone number, email, and birthday. We then drove a visit that was trackable. So now I can say, hey, we reached 1,000 people. We got 500 contacts. 100 came in, or 20%. I'm on the right path. Now let's just say 2 came in out of 500. Holy crap, I've got a list of 500 people that's useless. And so they always say what the definition of insanity is, doing the same thing over and over again that doesn't work. And so you've got to have the data. And the problem is most advertising campaigns restaurants do doesn't give them the positive attribution that what they're doing for attention is driving visits. Once you know that DELO walked in the restaurant and you can track it to his email and phone number and tell Facebook, hey, I want more DELOs, they can now optimize the algorithm and you can get more people just like you.
Yeah, and so data is the next thing on your 5 steps, and you have some great analysis spreadsheet that show people the actual data of what was spent and what what comes in, and that's huge for return on investment to know what's up.
And back to the dating analyzation, I met my wife, I got her number, we went on a couple of dates. When you go on dates, you get to learn about each other. What is your favorite color? Where did you grow up? What kind of music do you listen to? All these little things. That's what helps you build a deep relationship in a marriage of 26 years. That data step is you as a restaurateur, find out the crazy guy that comes in every Friday night that wears an orange shirt and drives an orange car. What kind of food does he eat? Is he married? Is he single? Does he have kids? Does he have no kids? Why doesn't he come here on lunch? Once you get that data, and you can do that digitally, you can now have better campaigns that go out to them and get them to come back again, which is the last step, which is nurture.
Right. And nurturing relationships is really the it's definitely a step in everybody's career. And for my career, that's the only way I've built this whole business in 20 years is that you go, and once you get that relationship, you know, you nurture it, you take care of it, you show that you care and do all those things. And for, you know, restaurants to do that with their own patrons is huge, you know, because you want those people to come back.
Yeah, and just like you, and like I can relate with you more than anybody else because my dad was in the insurance business, just like you, beast in the insurance business for so long. And my dad told me, Matt, I never sold insurance. I went golfing, I built relationships, I became friends, I learned their needs. And if something came up, if there was a valid business reason for me to talk to them about insurance, I did. But 90% of our conversations weren't about insurance. They were about them and us. And it's the same with restaurants. 90% of restaurants, their email that goes out 52 weeks in a year is me. Here's my menu. Here's a special. Here's how awesome we are. It's not about the restaurant. Quick example, we had a restaurant recently. We had a lot of them, but one in particular stuck out to me. They did a Mother's Day campaign in April where they sent out an email. They did a Facebook post that said, drop below an image and a text, a couple of sentences about a great memory of you and your mom. We're going to give away a Mother's Day package for Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Moms are awesome. Did an email and a text message after that. The email and text did not say, come eat at our restaurant, make a reservation, our menu. It said, go to Facebook, leave a memory of you and your mom. When they did that, they had like 240 women. It was almost all women. 240 of them leave a picture of them and their mom and 2, 3, 4 sentences. That's the engagement and the relationship you need with your customers. When you do that more often, they will eat at your restaurant. You don't have to tell them to come eat.
No, that's really cool and a great idea for anybody on Mother's Day. No, that's amazing. I know there's so much that we can cover. I know this is a really let's just say easy read. It's not, it's not that thick. And where can people get this book if they want a copy?
So Amazon, and depending on when you're watching this video, we're doing a couple week promo. It's supposed to hit. This is August 13th. Not to date the video when somebody's watching it, December 1st, 2042. But there's right now it's $25. It's going to be $6.99, I think, as of tonight or tomorrow for a limited time. You can go on there, buy it, and I'd ask you after you read it, leave a review. And you mentioned it's an easy read. I wrote this. My last 3 books have all been about the same size. I wrote them the one way. You can get on a plane in Miami, Florida, and fly to Cincinnati and read the book. I love reading. I've got a whole stack of business books that I've read. And the one thing I hate is it takes me probably 3 weeks to read most of them because they're this thick. And they sometimes go too deep. I mean, we're not, if you're an educated operator, I don't need to tell you for 20 pages the depth of collection database. Here's 2 pages. And here's actionable steps and examples of how to do it. But it's literally an hour-and-a-half read. And it's simple to read. There's QR codes you can scan to go to different places online to see examples. And there's actually a couple of case study videos you can scan to watch and see it all come together.
Oh, that's great. I mean, and you've sent me a lot of good book recommendations that are kind of short and to the point. I mean, especially when you have the ADD and you're 2 business guys like ourselves that just, we got to get through it and do it. Where can people find out about your company and what are your social media handles and all that sort of fun stuff? So
I'm Matt Plapp most places, Instagram. I think there's a Twitter. One of my team members runs. I'm not real big on Twitter, but Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm the real Matt Plapp, like the real Slim Shady, because my personal profile is regular Matt Plapp. My website is mattplapp.com, and that's a great resource to find a link to America's Best Restaurants, to Restaurant Marketing That Works. There's blogs on there. We do video content 2 or 3 times a week. That's how I met you. We do a lot of content trying to give back, but mattplapp.com is probably the easiest place.
Yeah, and you are just infiltrating Arizona with a lot more to come, so that's really exciting. And you'll be out here quite a bit often. So we'll keep it real, and definitely I'll keep you on the the social media aspect of what we're doing, because I really feel that what you have to offer is just such a value to these these restaurants that I haven't seen anything like it in my 20 years of doing insurance out here. And again, nurturing relationships is about giving added value, and if there's an added value, you're definitely one of those things that I think our agency can certainly lend to give to people. So anyways, thanks for hanging out and talking about the book and being on and all that good stuff.
I appreciate it. And last thing, my cell phone number, I'm open. If people want to have a conversation, I'll do my best to get back to you. I am busy, but 859-743-2408. It's also on our website. I get people call me all the time like, oh, this is really your number. I thought it was your office. It's me. if you want to have a conversation, text me, give me a call, and I'm always up to talking to operators and giving you whatever I can give you advice. That's
great. That's great. Well, cool, man. Good to see you, and congrats on the book, and look forward to seeing you here in Arizona soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, sir.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.